Well, as we have pulled the raw data from Ahrefs or your preferred tool, we are now ready to take the next step. We need to aggregate the individual tables we've saved for, say, each week and possibly each competitor into one table. Please note, if you want to analyze more than one site, like taking a look at the competition, you will first need to aggregate all of them separately for each site or company in the way we'll show you now. Okay, why is this necessary? First and foremost, the main information we are looking for is the development of rankings for any keyword URL combination over time, in our case from week to week. Plus, we want to look at the top performers for those keyword URL combinations only. Both jobs are done by the KNIME workflows, one of which you can see here. Fine, we'll look at each node now, and I will explain what it does, which settings have to be made, and which entries are crucial to generate a CSV file in the format RankAnalyst is expecting it. The first step, reading the source file. Usually, there's nothing you need to change here. Simply open the CSV file of the first week by clicking on Browse. KNIME will read the file and make the necessary settings automatically. To check if this worked as expected, you can take a look at the table below. Does it look right? All column headers read correctly? If so, let's go to the next node, the column rename. This step is of particular importance. We now have to rename the position column to make sure we have as many differently named columns as we have weeks. So double-click on Position from the list and then check Change, like this. Rename the column to 1 in square brackets position, like you see it here. Please note that this format is critical for RankAnalyst to read the data file correctly. It is absolutely necessary that you start with the first week and use square brackets like you see it here. For the next weeks, just do the same, then with 2 in square brackets, 3 in square brackets, and so on. Let's demonstrate this, because we have to do something additional. For the second and possibly any more weeks, you also need to rename the URL columns to URL 2, 3, and so on, like you see it here. Once this is done, we have to get rid of the columns we don't need. All but 4 can be removed from further processing. What we still need are the keyword, position. If the rename was done correctly, you'll see the renamed column now. URL and page URL inside. We'll come back to this column in a minute. Settings necessary are manual selection and enforced exclusion. Just use the arrow buttons in the middle to move all not used columns from the include to the exclude box. When finished, we go to the row filter node. What we do here is we filter out any ranks that don't deliver meaningful information or might diminish the meaning of the actually wanted organic rankings. So what we need is the column to test, its page URL inside. The matching criteria is use pattern matching. Enter the words exactly the way you see it here. Site links and image pack. And check exclude rows by attribute value. So why don't we want site links and image packs? These are additional ranks for usually anyhow ranked, so to say normal documents. So in a way, they would deliver additional rankings that wouldn't mean a lot. Good. The basic preparational work is done. Now it's time for the actual aggregation. Key for aggregating the data are the keywords. So make sure the group column box contains keywords. And only keyword? There is one more step to take. KNIME needs to know what data to include in the aggregation decision. So go to section Manual Aggregation and choose URL and position from the lists. And make sure the aggregation method is set to first and that missing values should be included. Repeat these steps for all weeks accordingly. By the way, once the workflows have been created, all you need to do for future projects is to select the respective input and output files. Pretty easy and fast then. By now we have taken the preparational steps for all weeks. At the moment we still have individual tables, so we now need to join them. The settings we set is full outer join, match all of the following, and once again, keyword will be the anchor. Two tables are joined now and need to be merged according to our needs. Remember, keyword URL combination. To do this, we'll need two nodes, exactly one for keywords and one for URLs. Settings are easy. For the first one, make sure you have both keywords and check replace primary column. The second one covers URL, URL, URL2. Again, replace primary column. At this point, we almost have what we want, one merge table. Yet, there are still missing values, like keyword URL combinations that are new entries are dropped out, so they have empty fields. As RankAnalyst uses the value of 101 as a marker for not ranked for a specific week, we need to fill the empty fields. So go to number, choose fixed value, and enter the value of 101. Along the way, we've created some additional columns that helped us aggregate. Let's get rid of them now, as we don't need them anymore. You've seen this dialog before, so again, choose manual selection and enforce exclusion, and make sure the include box only contains keyword URL and all position columns. Cool, we're done with preparation and aggregation, so the last step we need to take is that we write the aggregated file. There are a few things you need to make sure here. First, choose the desired output location and file name by clicking on Browse. Make sure Write Column Header is checked. Now go to section quotes and make sure that the data is always quoted. Finally, go to section encoding and ensure UTF-8 is set. That's it. Just repeat these steps for all sites you have pulled data for. We can now let the workflow do its work. We can watch it running. The output will be the written file, which is done now. By the way, we'll be providing 4 KNIME workflows for downloading, 2, 3, 4, and 5 weeks, so odd and even amounts of weeks are covered. That should make it easier for you to use them and create your own ones if needed. Great. We are ready to take the final step to provide RankAnalyst with the required input CSV file. Now, if you used more than one site, like looking at the competition, you need to copy all aggregated CSV files into one. For files 2 onward, leave away the header. We just need it once. If you look at just one site, you can obviously skip that. Okay, the final step, but it is very important. All we need to do now is to change the header a bit. We'll be removing the quotation marks for each field in the header, but only in the header. And keep the text for the moment. What you can do additionally is to replace the word position with, for example, the respective date. It is just important, let me emphasize this again, that you keep the week number in square brackets, here and here. Don't change these. Save the file, and we're done. The file is now ready to be uploaded to RankAnalyst and to be used immediately, which I will show you in the next chapter.